Hello everyone, welcome back. So as you know, we were discussing about RBI Grade B exam for Officers Examination Phase 2, and we have already discussed few of the questions earlier. So in this video, we will be talking about the next set of questions, that is starting from question number 61. Okay? So in question number 61, if you see, the question is arrange the following ingredients of communication process in the proper order: message, receiver, encoder, channel, and decoder. Right? So many of us might have already studied about the communication process which we have, right? So communication is a process which is related to transmitting and receiving verbal or non-verbal communication, and it consists of 6 different components. That is, first it starts with the context, then we have the sender or the encoder, if we say. Next is the message, the medium. Then it is passed on to the decoder or to the receiver, and the feedback is received. Right. So that is accordingly. I think that will be number. We have the other options also. Yes. See, I think it will be number 3. This is 3, 1, 4, 5, and 2. Right. 3 first is 3 encoder, message, and see 3, 1, 4, 5, and 2, right? So encoder, message, and it is passed to the channel, or this is also called medium. Next we have the decoder, and then we have the receiver who receives the message. Right? So option number 3 is the correct answer. 3, 1, 4, 5, and 2. Okay, it's a circlic process, so that's the process of communication. Next, moving on to question number 62. Marginal revenue will be related to relative of demand will be relative elastic, unitary elastic, relatively inelastic, perfectly elastic, or none of this, which will be the correct answer. See, actually the connection between the marginal revenue and elasticity basically works in a pattern. Like if the demand is elastic, then the marginal revenue is positive. Okay, and MR is positive. If the demand is inelastic, then marginal revenue is negative. If demand is unit elastic, then marginal revenue is 0. Okay. So basically the relation that we can establish between the price elasticity of demand and the marginal revenue curve, which indicates that the monopoly is only able to maximize profit by inducing a quantity of output that falls in the elastic range of the demand curve. Okay. A monopoly cannot maximize profit in the inelastic range of the demand. And why so? Because this involves negative marginal revenue. And by virtue of the profit maximizing equality between the marginal revenue and the marginal cost, we know that it requires negative marginal cost, which is just not a realistic possibility, right? So then accordingly, we have option number 3 is the correct answer. That is relatively inelastic. Okay, I will mark this as relatively inelastic, and we will move on to the next question. That is question number 63. Yes. Question number 63 says price control is one of the monopoly regulations which is the most advantageous for the producer, the consumer, the government, the seller, or none of this. See, one of the benefits of monopoly is that it helps in setting the price control. Now, let me give you an example. For example, the current UK competition regulator, which is the OFT or the Office of Fair Trading, has developed a system of price capping. Okay, price capping for the previously state-owned monopolies, natural monopolies that they had, like gas, water, whatsoever. Okay. Now, the price capping involves typing prices just below the current general inflation rate, and the formula for that is RPI minus X, which is used, where the RPI is the retail price index and the chosen index of inflation, and X is the level of price reduction agreed between the regulator and the firm, which is based on expected efficiency gains and so on. Right? So a monopoly is often advantageous to consumers for prices which are less than they would be under the competitive competitions, right? So accordingly, it is beneficial or very advantageous to the consumer. So then we have option number 2 as the correct answer, which is the consumer. Next, moving on to question number 64. The scientific management stressed upon rationality, specialization, technical competence, predictability. And the correct codes are given, that is 1 and 2, 1, 2 and 3, 2, 3 and 4, 1, 2 and 3, or none of this. So see, I will say rationality falls under this. Specialization is also part of it, and also technical competence. Okay. So accordingly, scientific management, the scientific management theory was proposed by Frederick Winslow Taylor or F.W. Taylor in the first decade of the 20th century. In this, the first coherent theory of administration was said. According to this theory, the same principle of management can be applied to all social entities. Okay, and the government policies for our homes, farms, business, state, anything will be having the same principles. It emphasized that the improvements in the lower level of the company will be very important than the top management. It also studied the relationship between the physical nature of work and the psychological nature of the workman. It also stressed upon, the specialization and predictability, technical competence, also the rationality for improving the organizational efficiency and economy. Okay, so accordingly, if we go by this, then question number 64 will be option number 4. That is 1, 2, and 3. Rationality, specialization, and technical competence. Okay, that is 1, 2, and 3. All are correct. So option number 4 is our correct answer. Next, moving on to question number 65. Now, in question number 65, also we have a series of codes that are going to be discussed. See, arrange the Maslow's need hierarchy in the descending order. Okay, if you remember the need hierarchy, that was the pyramid. Okay, social, self-actualization, psychological, ego, and security. See, Maslow's hierarchy of need is often displayed as the pyramid. As I just told you, it is displayed in a pyramid structure. The lowest levels of the pyramid are made based on the basic needs, right? While the more complex needs are located at the topmost point of the pyramid. Now, needs at the bottom of the pyramid are basic physical ones, or the physical needs that we are mainly talking about. One of these lower level needs that have been met, people can move next on the next to the next level, right? Once the basic ones or the lower level ones are completed, then they move on to the next level. That's a pyramid structure. So first we have the basic ones, then the one by one we proceed to the topmost portion. Okay. So as I was saying, once these lower level ones have been met, people can move on to the next level of needs, which are, for security, safety, and other needs. And now, as this is complete, as people progress up the pyramid, needs become increasingly psychological and social. Soon, the need for love, friendship, and intimacy becomes important. Further going up to the pyramid, the need for personal esteem and feelings of accomplishment takes priority. Maslow then emphasizes that the importance of self actualization, which is a process of growing and develops as a person, which is very important for a person to achieve an individual potential. So I will draw a pyramid for you all to understand how this works basically. This is a pyramid-like structure which is based on Maslow's theory. And the correct answer to this is, that is 2. First we have self-actualization, then is ego, then is social, then is security, and last we have psychological, according to the descending order if we go. Okay, so 2, 4, 1, 5, and 3. Okay, I think this will be the one. 2, 4, 1, 5, right? This is the pyramid. And we have various structures here, okay? Next, moving on to question number 66. According to which theory leadership is multi-dimensional? Okay. If you go to this question, then for this you have to definitely go through all the theories that are there, all the ones that is behavioral, situational, trait, only 1 and 3, and none of this. So all the theories have to be known well enough. So the theory which is associated with multi-dimensional leadership is situational theory. Okay, in the situational approach or the situational theory of leadership, it is viewed as multi-dimensional. Okay, now why that is called situational leadership theory? Often say that the effectiveness of a particular style of leadership is dependent on the context in which it is being exercised. From situation to situation, different styles may be more appropriate or more emphasized, and emphasis is placed on the developing of the ability to work in different ways and change management styles to suit as per the situation or as per the requirement. Okay, so if you are talking about situation theory, from the very word you can understand it depends from situation to situation. So then it matches the key statement that is given to us: leadership is multidimensional in situational theory. Next, moving on to question number 67. Which of the following, according to Hertzberg, are not the motivators? Responsibility, recognition, interpersonal relations, work itself. And we have 1, 3, and 4, 1, 2, and 3, only 3, 2 and 4, and none of this. So let's analyze this. That according to Hertzberg, intrinsic factors such as challenging work, recognition, and responsibility produce employee satisfaction, while extrinsic hygiene factors including status, salary, job security, and fringe benefits if absent produce dissatisfaction. So then what we have, interpersonal relations will be effective, right? So then I will say only 3 is the correct answer. That is option number 3. Okay. Next, moving on to question number 68. The practice of placing a candidate at the right job is selection, placement, interview, only 2 and 3, or none of this. See, placing a correct candidate in the correct job, that is the process of recruitment. Recruitment is a process, as we know, it is the process of generating a pool of candidates by reaching the right audience suitably to fill the vacancy. Selection involves picking the most suitable candidate from the pool that is willing to fill the vacancy. That is, selection involves the process to identify the right candidate to fill the post. Actually, it's a wider term. Okay, recruitment is a wider term, and a part of recruitment is selection. So placing the right candidate at the right job is selection. So we have option number 1 as the correct answer. Next, we have another assertion, that is question number 69. So 69 says, the theory of hypothesis of RBI suggests no relationship between personal development of the individual and the organizational situation. The principles and the characteristics of the formal organization, in the opinion of RBI, are incongruent to the needs of adult human beings. So there are a series of codes. A and R are true, and R is correct explanation of A. A and R are true, but R is not the correct explanation of A. A is true, but R is false. A is false, but R is true. Both A and R are false. Okay. So I can assess here from this that A is false. I'll explain you in details. A is false, but R is true. Okay. So I will go with the answer of option number 4. Now coming to the details why I'm saying option number 4 to be the correct answer. See, the theory of hypothesis of RBI suggests that the relationship between the personal development of an individual and the organizational situation. Okay. Now, the work of athletes had influenced thinking that the work of Atreides had influenced the thinking about the relationship, basically relationship of a person or people of the organization, or you can even say organizational learning, and according to the research that he has been provided. So accordingly, he believes that people progress from a stage of immaturity and dependence to a state of maturity and independence. Many organizations intend, or they indeed do have intentions to keep their employees in a dependent state, okay, thereby blocking further progress so that they not face or opportunities or due to various reasons. Now, this tendency may keep an individual from realizing that his or her what true potential is, what he is capable, he or she is capable of. Further, argues that several of the basic concepts and principles of modern management, such as specialization, hinder the development of a healthy environment or healthy personality. He feels that such incongruence between the organization and the employee or the individual that we are talking about, individual development, healthy personality will be affected. He feels that such incongruence between the organization and individual development results in the failure and therefore the frustration of the employee. Now, what will happen after repeated failures and frustration? The employee will not will to work in that organization anymore. Such incongruence, as we argues, that can be corrected by such techniques such as job enlargement, job loading, which increases the work-related responsibility of the individual and also allows him to participate in the decision-making process. So he might feel that he is a part of the company and he's part of the organization, and the frustration level basically diminishes. Okay, so accordingly, that is why I said option number 4 is the correct option. That is, A is false, but R is true. The principles and characteristics of a formal organization are incongruent to the needs of adult human beings. Next, moving on to question number 70. Which one of the following is not the main concern of scientific management? Production, efficiency, mechanistic methods, rationality, or none of this? See, scientific management. When we are talking about scientific management was also called Taylorism. Okay, this was a theory where the management principles were explained well enough that analyzed and synthesized workflows. Okay, its main objective of this theory was improving the economic efficiency, especially labor productivity. It was one of the earliest attempts that had been taken to apply science to the engineering of processes and to management. Its development began long back with F.W. Taylor. That's why we are calling it as Taylorism or Taylor theory in the year 1880s and 1890s. In those years, within the manufacturing industry, it was going on. Although, scientific management as a distinct theory of school or school of thought was obsolete by 1930s, most of its themes were still important part of the industrial engineering and the management that we have today in the present time. Now, these include analysis, synthesis, logic, rationality, empiricism. Then we have work ethics, efficiency, elimination of waste, standardization of best practices, disdain for tradition preserved merely for its own sake or merely to protect the social status of the particular workers with particular fixed skills, the transformation of craft production into mass production, and knowledge transfer between workers and from workers into tools, processes, and documentations. So therefore, we have the correct option as number 3, which is mechanistic methods. So as it was particularly based on science and so. So in this video, we have been discussing up till question number 70. I hope the understanding was clear enough. I have given you quite clear understanding. So you can refer to the previous videos for the other questions which have been discussed, and in the next videos we'll be coming up with the next set of questions from question number 71. So I hope you have liked the video and you have got enough understanding from it. Thank you for patiently hearing me out. Thank you. Stay happy. Stay safe.